Someone in your life is manipulating your brain right now. Not in a movie, not in a conspiracy theory. Right now. Today. In your real life. And the most terrifying part? You are not just letting them do it. Your own brain is helping them. By the end of this video, you will never look at the people around you the same way again. Because once you see what dark psychology does to a human brain, once you literally see it happening inside your own head, you cannot unsee it. Stay with me. This is going to change everything.
Here's something nobody tells you in school. Every single day, you are in a psychological war. And most days, you do not even know the battle is happening. Dark psychology isn't something that only happens to weak people. It's not something that only happens in abusive relationships. It happens in offices, in friendships, in families, on your phone screen, right now, tonight, at your dinner table. Psychologists define dark psychology as the study of the human condition as it relates to the psychological nature of people who prey on others. But let me break that down in plain English. Dark psychology is what happens when someone understands how your brain works and uses that knowledge against you. And here's what makes this so dangerous. Your brain wasn't built to defend against it. It was built to trust, to connect, to believe the people closest to you. That's your greatest strength as a human being. And it's also your most exploitable weakness. Research in behavioral psychology suggests that most people experience at least one form of psychological manipulation every single year. That is not a small number. That is almost everyone watching this right now. And the number one reason people don't catch it? They're looking for monsters. But the people using these tactics look exactly like everyone else. Sometimes they look like the person you love the most in the world. Now, I want to show you something that most people never get to see. I want to show you what dark psychology actually does to your brain. Not theoretically, physically. This is your prefrontal cortex. This is the part of your brain responsible for logic, for critical thinking, for recognizing when something is wrong. This is the part that a skilled manipulator's first goal is to shut down. And they do not shut it down with force. They shut it down with something your brain cannot resist: emotion. When your amygdala, the emotional center of your brain, is activated, your prefrontal cortex goes offline. Science calls this an amygdala hijack, but you probably know it by a different name. You know it as the moment you said yes when you meant no, the moment you stayed when you knew you should leave, the moment you believed something you knew was not right. This is exactly what a manipulator is counting on. They do not argue with your logic. They trigger your emotions: fear, love, guilt, shame, hope. Any one of these activated strongly enough, and your critical thinking goes dark. And here is the part that will stay with you. The more someone loves or trusts the manipulator, the easier the hijack becomes. Your brain's own chemistry works against you. That is not a character flaw. That is just neuroscience. And once you understand it, you can fight back. Now let's talk about the specific tactics. The ones happening right now. The ones you need to be able to recognize. I'm going to give you three. The three most common dark psychology tactics used in everyday life in 2026. Tactic number 1. Intermittent reinforcement. This one is so powerful that casinos built an entire industry around it. Here's how it works. Instead of rewarding you consistently, a manipulator rewards you randomly. Sometimes they're warm, loving, kind, the best person you've ever met. Then suddenly, without warning, cold, distant, critical, impossible to please. And what does your brain do? It becomes obsessed with getting back to the good version. It chases the reward. Like a slot machine you cannot stop pulling. The inconsistency is not accidental. It is the weapon. Tactic number 2, guilt weaponization. Healthy relationships involve natural guilt. You hurt someone, you feel bad, you apologize, you move forward. But in dark psychology, guilt is not a natural response. It's a tool.
It is manufactured, amplified, and directed. The manipulator does not just let you feel guilty. They engineer your guilt. They remind you of your mistakes constantly. They compare you to impossible standards. They say things like, "After everything I've done for you, I guess I just don't matter to you. You always do this." And your brain, hardwired for social connection, responds to guilt the way a body responds to pain. It will do almost anything to make it stop. Tactic number 3, identity erosion. This one is the most dangerous and the slowest. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens in months, sometimes years. Small comments about who you are, what you are capable of, what you deserve. You're too sensitive. You always overreact. Nobody else would put up with you. You're lucky to have me. One comment is nothing. 100 over a year, and you start to believe it. That's not a relationship. That's a rewrite of your identity. I want to pause here for a second, because I know some of you are not just watching this out of curiosity. Some of you recognized something in those last few minutes. A person, a voice, a pattern. And if you did, I want you to hear this clearly. What you experienced was not your fault. It was not your weakness. It was a system designed to work on human brains, including yours, including mine. Here are 5 signs right now that you may be experiencing dark psychology in a relationship in your life. 1. You find yourself apologizing constantly, even when you're not sure what you did wrong. 2. You feel anxious when this person is in a bad mood, like their emotions are your responsibility. 3. You have slowly stopped doing things you used to love because they made it difficult or criticized you for them. 4. You feel more confused about who you are than you did before this relationship. 5. When things go wrong, somehow it always ends up being about your reaction rather than their action. If 3 or more of those hit home, this video was meant for you today. And I am genuinely glad you're here, because knowing is the beginning of everything. You cannot fight what you cannot see, and now you can see it. So what do you actually do with this information? I am not going to give you a generic list of tips. I'm going to give you 3 specific things that neuroscience says actually work. Protection 1. Name it out loud. When you feel that familiar anxiety, that guilt, that confusion, name the tactic. Say it to yourself. This is intermittent reinforcement. This is guilt weaponization. This is identity erosion. The moment you name it, your prefrontal cortex reactivates. Naming engages logic, and logic is your shield. Protection 2. Create a 24-hour rule. Dark psychology works fastest when you react immediately. A manipulator needs your emotional response right now, so give them nothing right now. Tell yourself, I will think about this in 24 hours. Go for a walk, call a friend, sleep on it. In 24 hours, your amygdala calms down, your prefrontal cortex comes back online, and suddenly things look very different. Protection 3. Rebuild your outside relationships. Isolation is the goal of every manipulator, because your outside perspective, your friends, your family, the people who knew you before, they are the mirror that shows you who you actually are. If someone in your life has made you feel guilty for your other relationships, if you have slowly drifted from the people who love you,
That drift was not accidental, and it is reversible. Pick up the phone today. Reach out to one person you've been distant from. It doesn't have to be a big conversation. Just reconnect. That one action is an act of self-protection.
Here's what I want you to take away from this video. Dark psychology is real, it is common, and it works on everyone. Not because people are weak, but because people are human. The brain that makes you capable of love is the same brain that makes you vulnerable to manipulation. That is not a flaw. That is the cost of being able to feel anything at all. But you are not defenseless. You never were. You just did not have the information. Now you do. In the next video, we're going to go deeper. We're going to talk about the one dark psychology tactic that is so subtle, so perfectly designed, that most people spend years in it before they realize it has a name. It's called gaslighting, and it's the most common reason intelligent, self-aware people end up completely lost. That video goes up next. Subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss it. Because once you understand gaslighting, you'll start seeing it everywhere. And you will never be the same. I'll see you there.